How difficult it is to assimilate to living in Portugal honestly depends on the person. But rather than saying, oh, it's easy or hard, I'm going to share some factors with you that could make your life easier when you move to Portugal or more difficult. Kicking it off with the easiest one, language. If you speak Portuguese, even if you speak Brazilian Portuguese, it's going to be easier to assimilate to life here in Portugal. If you speak no Portuguese and you only speak English and you're thinking about moving to Portugal, I highly recommend starting European Portuguese classes and courses. We have a lot of information about this on our channel, so you can go check it out there. But that would be the number one tip to make your life easier to living in Portugal. A second factor that we don't really talk about as much on our channel is your current health needs. So if you have a lot of medical needs in the US or wherever you're coming from and you're looking to move to Portugal, that will make it a little bit more difficult at first. You'll have to find your healthcare providers. There are some medications that are available in the US and they are not in Portugal, like Adderall, for example. And I would say one thing that the US does better than Portugal is for mobility and accessibility. So if you're in a wheelchair or you have limited mobility, it will be a little bit more difficult for you to get around Portugal, and that's just a fact. Another factor is your willingness to just say yes and do new activities. For us, it was pretty easy to assimilate into the Portuguese culture, way of life, events, community. We have a great group of friends here, mixture of immigrants and Portuguese people. But a huge way that we were able to assimilate kind of seamlessly into our Portugal life is by just saying yes. Any event that came our way, we said yes. Anytime someone asked us to do something fun, we said yes. So what did that result in? Us doing a ton of different activities with a lot of different people and really getting a feel for kind of what like the local culture is and what people like to do for fun here. My husband and I lived in a van for 3 years before moving to Portugal. We also lived in Mexico and Costa Rica. That is a huge factor for how easy it was to adjust to Portuguese life. The biggest change for Americans, I would say, compared to Portugal, is it really is a slower pace of life. You have to be more patient with doing activities and errands, like dealing with the local government, stuff like that. We got very used to that living in a vehicle and also living in Mexico and Costa Rica. Costa Rica has a similar pace of life, but if you are impatient, that will make it very difficult for you to have a chill, easy transition into Portugal. Overall, I would say it is relatively easy to assimilate to the Portuguese way of life. As long as you want to. Like if you want to make Portugal your own mini America, then you won't assimilate well. If you want to embrace all things Portuguese, you will have a great time and the people will welcome you with open arms. They have been nothing but kind to us. Besides some of the TikTok trolls that think that we're on a golden visa, which we're not.